The 15th BRICS Summit was held in Johannesburg last month. The most interesting outcome of this event was that the BRICS countries invited 6 more new countries into this group. These include Saudi Arabia, Iran and UAE from West Asia, Argentina from Latin America, Ethiopia and Egypt from Africa. The list doesn't end here. Almost 40 countries have shown their interest in joining the BRICS, with almost 20 countries having already submitted the formal applications. Now let us have a glimpse into the history of the BRICS grouping. It was started in 2001 with the 4 countries, Brazil, Russia, India and China. And in 2010, the grouping got expanded with the addition of South Africa and it became BRICS. This grouping attracted huge international attention and many people and many countries of that time opinion that the global economy will be dominated by the BRICS countries by 2050. BRICS countries account for nearly 40% of the global population, 30% of the global GDP and 20% of the global oil output. The first head of the state level BRICS summit was held in Russia in 2009. Now let us understand what are the intended goals of this grouping. The first and the most important is that the BRICS will act as a platform for the global south, that is the developing countries, including India, China, South Africa, etc. Within this grouping, they aim to call for reforms in the international system, like the reforms in United Nations, World Trade Organization, IMF, World Bank, etc. Also, one of the primary goals is to alleviate the global poverty and the financial crises. The BRICS would also act as a platform for discussing issues like counterterrorism, health, education, disaster management, agriculture, etc. One of the most important initiatives that BRICS have contributed is the BRICS Bank or the New Development Bank. It is headquartered in Shanghai, China. It is a multilateral bank aimed at mobilizing resources for infrastructure and sustainable development in emerging markets and developing countries. Another major initiative is the BRICS Contingency Reserve aimed at assisting the member countries in times of short-term liquidity crisis or balance of payment crisis. Having understood the basics of the BRICS grouping, now let us try to understand what will be the implications of the expansion of the BRICS grouping. The first one is that it will become the GDP giant in the room. That is, the current share of around 30% to the global GDP will increase to around 40%, and that's huge. More than that, the geostrategic value of the global south will increase, which would lead to the amplification of its voices in the global geopolitical theater. Now, if we observe the global sentiments, the second and third order countries want to get away from the clutches of the Western dominated or rather dollar dominated financial transaction system. This ambition for de-dollarization could be witnessed in last year's summit when Russian President Vladimir Putin said that the bloc is working on creating an international reserve currency. This new currency will reduce the dollar dependence and also cut the cost of transaction between the global south. Also, with new members joining the group, the trade will become more liberalized and this will lead to creation of new markets for the BRICS countries. The third order countries or the least developed countries, especially of that of Africa, hope that the BRICS countries will raise voices for them in the international tables. Now, if you look at it, the coming together of Iran, UAE and Saudi Arabia in a single forum is a good sign for Asia totally. We know that the relations between the Arab world and the Persian world were not that colorful in the past decades. Most recently, it was seen when Iran slammed UAE for its Abraham Accords with Israel. Also, the BRICS grouping may help in downplaying the Iran-Saudi Arabia tensions. The early signs of this was seen in this March when Iran and Saudi Arabia issued a joint statement saying that they are planning to resume the diplomatic connection between these two countries. This was in fact a Chinese brokered reconciliation. So India has to be wary about the big player here, China. China is making more diplomatic inroads into the West Asia as well as the ASEAN countries. This is not good for the India. So India will have to take a more cautious approach in dealing with the dragon in the room. We will have to wait further to understand the progress of this scenario, but we can hope that the clouds of tensions are clearing and the global south will be able to reap the benefits out of this bonhomie. Thank you for watching.
Amrita IAS Academy.